All right, everybody, we are going live to talk about autism. I'm just finishing getting everything set up here, but this is an Autism Live. If you have any interest in autism at all, this is the place for you to be. Maybe you're an autism parent. Maybe you're wondering if your child's autistic. Maybe you're worried about autism and you just want to learn more. Maybe you are autistic or your child is showing signs, or you've wondered for a long time if you're autistic. This is the place to be. I am just barely getting started with today's live stream, you guys. I go live on a daily basis to talk about autism. This is a judgment-free zone. Hello, Ma Jonah. Good to see you on here. We're just barely getting started. It takes a minute to get people in here, so go ahead and be coming in. Good to see you. Good to see you, everybody. Be tapping on that screen as you get in. Let's get those likes up to at least 1,000 as quickly as we can. Can we get those likes to 1,000 here as quickly as we can? It does make TikTok push it out to more people. And if we can get it to 1,000 here in the next, 30 seconds to a minute, that would be great if everyone can tap on that screen. But we are here to talk about autism. And I think the theme of today is going to be on pseudoscience. I think that's going to be the theme of the live stream today. If you have interest in pseudoscience or misinformation around autism, that's the theme of today's live stream. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I'm going to answer questions, but I just posted a video about this, that there are a lot of therapies out there that fall into three categories, okay? We have therapies and support for autism that are evidence-based and core therapies that you should consider. In fact, there's 4 of those. Then there's these extra therapies that don't harm, and they can bring joy to your child, but they're not evidence-based at building skills. But then you have flat-out pseudoscience, stuff that evidence does not support the wide use of the therapies, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions. If you are just coming in, I'll do a brief introduction to me. I am seeing a lot of these good questions coming in. I will get to those. But I do want to do an introduction of myself, and I want you all to introduce yourself. So go ahead and tell me, where are you from? Tell me the state that you're in if you're in the U.S. Tell me the country you're in if you're not in the U.S. I'm in Utah. Anyone else in Utah here? I'm in Utah, and I have 2 children diagnosed with autism. I'm an autism dad. I myself am not diagnosed. I never thought I'd be an autism dad, to be honest with you, but about a year and a half ago, my son was diagnosed, and then just a month ago, my daughter was diagnosed. And but I've been supporting people with autism since 2013. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. We got Washington State, UK, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Scotland. Thank y'all for introducing yourselves. I'm currently the CEO of a company that supports people with autism, and I was even in that position before my own child was diagnosed with autism. And my own child getting diagnosed, that flipped a switch, you guys. That made me more passionate than ever. I am here to dispel misinformation, here to support each other, here to build a village that can support each other. That's what we do here, you guys. And I go live on a daily basis. And so if it still says follow here, that means that if you leave right now, you may never find my live stream again. I'm not a major creator. I have some followers, but yeah, it may be hard to find me. So make sure that you hit the follow so you can find me again, or go see me next time. Let's answer some questions, you guys. Why did they get rid of the term Asperger's? Okay, so they actually combined 3 diagnoses into one, is what they did. So in 2013, they did update the diagnostic criteria for autism. And what they did is there were 3 diagnoses: autism, Asperger's, and PDD-NOS. And those were very related conditions, and they had some separating factors. And they looked at it and said, you know what? These 3 are not distinct conditions. They all fall on the same spectrum. And so now we have level 1, level 2, level 3 autism. Are you on the YT platform? Yes, I am. And actually on the YT platform, I do answer more questions over there because it's a lot slower, so I see them all. Do you think autism is being overdiagnosed nowadays? I'm going to say something controversial, you guys. I think autism is being underdiagnosed. Why? Well, let me tell you. About 1 in 20 boys are diagnosed with autism. Do you know how that applies to girls? 1 in 70 girls are diagnosed. I'm curious, of the people here, who was diagnosed as an adult? Put me in the chat. If you're an autistic person who was missed as a child, put me in the chat. There is a lot of people here. Let me tell you what's going on here. For those of you wondering if autism is overdiagnosed, absolutely not. It is underdiagnosed. Forever, girls have been missed getting diagnosed on the spectrum. And what we claim to be boys being boys, we allowed them to show their signs of autism more freely as a society. Girls tend to mask earlier. That is documented in the research, you guys. It's documented in the research that girls tend to mask earlier. And a lot of that can be explained through society saying to boys, they're allowed to be boys. But girls, they say, sit still, be calm, be polite, act like a lady. And they are pressured to mask earlier. All right. I feel like the spectrum is so big, so it's easy to miss. Absolutely. Yes, the spectrum is a wide spectrum now. And so there's a lot of people that fall on that spectrum. Now, it doesn't include everybody. Not everybody is a little autistic. Not everybody has a touch of the tism, as they say. That's like saying everybody's a little pregnant. You are not a little pregnant. You are not a little autistic. But it is common. Is there anything that specifically helps you that you want others to know? A7. Okay, so good question. I'm not on the spectrum, and I understand how this can kind of, some people do think that, but my children are on the spectrum, and I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. And I just want everyone to know that OT, you're an OT, occupational therapy. Today, I want the theme of today to be about pseudoscience. And I want you to know that there are 4 key therapies that I recommend. Occupational therapy is one of those, like A7 is mentioning there. The others include things like ABA therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. Why do you think women are so underdiagnosed or misdiagnosed? Well, I kind of touched on that already. Girls tend to mask earlier than boys. A lot of the research that was done about autism was done on boys. And so, yeah, it tended to be missed for girls. There's a lot of women who are not diagnosed who should be. Many women are just seen as quirky or sensitive as a child, yeah, or diagnosed with other things, a lot of other mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, even ADHD, but then upon further investigation, finding that they are autistic. You guys, as soon as we get to 20,000 likes today, I'm going to go through the autism news of the day. And you guys, it's a big one. It's exciting. I love when there's new autism evidence out there. And it's a big one today. And so as soon as we get to 20,000 likes, we can go through the autism news of the day, be tapping on that screen, and I will go through that as soon as we get to 20,000 likes. Is masking tricky because you could be doing it your entire life without even realizing it? Yeah, you could, but masking is painful. It's harmful. It's not something that's easy. And so, you know, if it's just something that you do because you do it that way, that might not be masking. Masking is something that we shouldn't encourage. It is something that is correlated. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Oh man, Amanda, I appreciate that. That really is too kind. But autism is not something that you need to fear. The label is not something to be worried about. And it's not something that's overdiagnosed. Does OT actually work? I feel parents do or should do a lot of the same things that OT does. Okay, so a lot of these sciences, ABA, OT, speech, what they do is they end up playing with the kid in a way that teaches them. And each one of these specialties, there's overlap between these professions, but each of these specialists, each of these clinicians have thousands of hours of training and work with autistic kids all the time, and parents really should rely on them. Though a key component is, oh, Amanda, hand heart, a second gift from you. Oh my gosh, I appreciate that. But the parents should be playing with their kids. But a big part of these therapies is training the parents on how to play with their kids. All right, go ahead and continue asking these questions. These are great. Wonderful questions, you guys. We're already at 11,000 likes. As soon as we get to 20,000, we do go through the autism news of the day. Do you think brain-gut connection related with autism? Okay, so brain-gut. Let me tell you, this was a theory back about a couple decades ago that came out, that the gut is leaky in kids with autism, and therefore the toxins that come into the body through the food that we eat or the injections that we receive are not filtered out through the standard detoxing system that is our body, through the kidneys and liver. And instead, these toxins get leaked through the gut into the bloodstream and into the brain. We know that heavy metals are toxic. However, this has never been shown through research to actually be correlated with autism. This falls into the category of pseudoscience. I'm going to be firm on this term today. I'm not usually this bold and this firm, but I want to be very clear on what pseudoscience is. Pseudoscience refers to promoting therapeutic practices. How I'm using this is therapeutic practices within the autism world, which are not found to be evidence-based, rather based on emotions, anecdotes, and theories without evidence. You say no judgment, but you judge. I'm not judging you. No judgment. You can ask questions. I'm not judging you for asking that question. I can judge I will absolutely judge a therapy, okay? If someone is coming and telling you that they are going to cure your child's autism, I'm going to judge that therapy. I'm not going to judge you as a parent for coming and asking about that, okay? There are other pseudoscientific therapies. Feel free to ask about them. We'll talk a lot about that today. It's not judgment, that's awareness. Yeah, I'm an RBT and in the ABA field. I appreciate educational live streams like this. Oh, I love RBTs. RBTs are incredible. And you know what? I think it's good for us to also talk about the harms that these core therapies can do. And I do talk about that on my live stream, but I still think pointing people in the direction where the evidence is strongest, which is these 4 core autism therapies, is way more important than trying to identify these random pseudoscientific therapies and treatments. How does occupational therapy work? So occupational therapists are highly trained in meeting the sensory needs of a child. They're also widely trained in skill building as well as feeding therapy. And so quite often when I try to decipher between what is speech therapy in charge of, what is OT in charge of, and what is ABA in charge of, there's overlap here. But I recommend OT for families when their child has sensory needs that are not met. When a lot of the behaviors are around stimming and the parents can't find how to help and support that child. Okay, how can I get diagnosed? Moonstar, good question. So if you're an adult, and I'm curious, who do we have on this platform? Put 1 in the chat if you're an autism parent or you suspect your child may be autistic. Put 2 in the chat if you are autistic or wondering if you're autistic. Put 3 in the chat if you are here to just learn, observe. Maybe you're a professional, put 3 in the chat. Or if you're a grandma or a sibling, you matter too. You can put that in the chat as well. Okay, so a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s, some 3s. Great. We got a wide variety today. That's wonderful. So if you fall into the category of 2, and you are wondering if you are autistic, let me go through a thought experiment with you that might help you think if you are autistic, okay? Stay with me here. One thing that people with autism quite often state, and tell me if you can relate to this, whether you're autistic or not. But imagine you are, that life feels like you are in a play. And everybody else around you has the script. They went to the dress rehearsal. They know when to say the things they're supposed to say and when not to say the things they're not supposed to say. But you were not given a script. You were not part of the rehearsals, and you were thrown into a live performance, which is life. And you walk into a situation, and it seems like everyone else knows what they're doing, what they're saying, what the right things are to say, but that doesn't work for you. There's an audience there observing, and they laugh or they judge when you say something wrong. They judge you when you don't say the thing that you're supposed to say. That is what a lot of people say autism feels like for adults who were missed. Now, that's not the only thing. That's not diagnostic criteria. That's not something that, you can walk away from this live and say, I align with that. I'm autistic. So what do you actually do? Well, if that resonated with you, it might be worth taking a screener. That is the first step. You take a screener. Find a validated screener. There's 3 that I recommend. I have one linked to my bio. The RADS 14 is the one linked to my bio. It's the quickest one. It's only 14 questions. You could also do the full RADS R. RADS R, RAADS R, and that's 80 questions. You can also do the AQ Autism Screener, which is 50 questions. And that'll tell you if it's worth looking into. Holy cow, A7, we're already at 20,000 likes. Thank you for pointing that out. Let me finish this thought here, and then I will go through the autism news of the day. And so do a screener. The screeners don't diagnose you with autism either. It seems like it's so hard to get this autism diagnosis, but I'm breaking down the steps here. First, that analogy rung true. Go ahead and take a screener. If the screener comes back and indicates a high possibility of autism, then you reach out to a psychologist who can diagnose autism and find out if they accept your insurance. Now, you may have to wait 6 months. You may have to wait a year, but get on that wait list, and then you can have that evaluation. All right, you guys, we are at 29,000 likes. It is time for the autism news of the day, and I got to say, this is a big one. It's a big news day today, you guys. I'm so glad you all are here. A little bit of an introduction about me before I go through this news is I'm an autism dad. I'm a CEO of an autism company, and I have a master's degree in autism studies. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. My entire life is around autism. Do you know what I do when I'm bored at home? I research articles on autism. I go and I read all I can. I watch videos about autism. My entire For You page on TikTok is autism. That is where my passion lies. That doesn't mean I know everything, but I absolutely love coming on here and having these discussions. If I don't know, we learn together. Okay, you guys, the news of the day. A new study was just published yesterday. Now, it hadn't been published to my knowledge when I went live yesterday. This is brand new. Today's the first day that we can report on this. You guys, a new autism study was published, and it studied Tylenol during pregnancy and autism. This is a brand new study, you guys, and it was published in JAMA Pediatrics, a very high-end, legitimate medical journal, peer-reviewed. And this study actually studied 1.5 million children, measuring the impacts of Tylenol during pregnancy. So for context, back 6 months ago, 7 months ago maybe, RFK Jr. and Donald Trump did a press conference. And this was a pre-planned thing from last March where they said, by September, we will know what causes autism and we will know how to treat and reverse the symptoms or mitigate those exposures. And they came with 2 things. One was they said Tylenol was highly correlated to autism. And then they promoted leucovorin, which I can talk about later. This is about the Tylenol claim. And they were right that there was a Harvard study done showing a correlation between Tylenol and autism. But you know what that study didn't show? That study did not rule out why someone may be taking Tylenol. We already know that infections in mothers is correlated to autism. So was it the infection or was it Tylenol? Well, this new study came out, and it was 1.5 million children studied. And what they found is mind-blowing. They found that those pregnancies where the children were exposed to Tylenol were far less likely to be autistic. When you look at 1.5 million people, those who took Tylenol were less likely to be autistic. That was unexpected, you guys. That was an unexpected result of this study. This was published yesterday, you guys, in a medical journal. You probably haven't heard about this yet. Now, you got to be careful. This study is not. This study is not saying to take Tylenol to reduce the likelihood of autism. Okay, we got to be really careful. More research needs to be done. We don't understand why there were fewer people. The exact numbers were those who took Tylenol during pregnancy had a 1.8% chance of autism. Those who were not, sorry, those, hold on. Those who were not exposed to Tylenol had a 3% chance of having autism. 1.8 if they took Tylenol, 3% if they did not take Tylenol, you guys. 1.8% to 3%. That's almost double the chance of autism. Whoa, guys, that's huge. Now, this is not saying Tylenol reduced the likelihood, okay? You can't say that. There's so many, this is a correlational study, right? This is the first, level of identifying this correlation. And so just like if those numbers were reversed, we wouldn't automatically jump and say Tylenol caused it. But what we can say is there continues to be no indication that Tylenol causes or is likely to cause autism. This is from JAMA Pediatrics, JAMA Pediatrics. You can Google this. I'll put this up into the chat, into the comment, and then I'll pin it, and you guys can see. Okay, that is the title, you guys. You can copy and paste that into Google, and it'll bring up this study. It was published just yesterday. 1.5 million children were studied. And those who had exposure to Tylenol were less likely to be autistic. Those who were exposed to Tylenol were less likely to be autistic. This, oh my gosh, this went such a different direction. And here's what the sad part here is, preemptively making claims about things. Like, you shouldn't take this and say now Tylenol prevents autism. You can't say that from this. And that can do real harm if you say that, because there are risks of taking Tylenol when you don't need to. The official recommendation from Tylenol, from my understanding, during pregnancy is only as needed, as recommended by a doctor, not, take as much as you can. And it would be harmful if people took from this, I need to take more Tylenol. That's not what this is saying at all. There's other factors that maybe those who are likely to take Tylenol were also to do other things that are associated with reducing the likelihood of autism. Yep, pediatrics, JAMA, yep. Let's see. JAMA Pediatrics. And I pinned the title there. I pinned the title. Interesting stuff, you guys. I'm going to do a video after this about this, but Tylenol themselves said they do not advise taking it during pregnancy. Yeah, there's risk factors to taking Tylenol with pregnancy. What does that have to do with autism, WB? What does that have to do with autism? Or are you talking about their tweet that they made that their social media manager did or whatever? Because that was a silly thing to say. That's not evidence. But it's, the recommendation is you take Tylenol as you need it and as the doctor needs it. And it's, from my understanding, the safest pain medication for, one of the most challenging times a woman goes through. Here's what really bothered me about this situation is pregnancy is brutal. And autism, the autism world is already unfair to women. Okay? The autism world is terrible to women. That already we're missing women being diagnosed. We're missing girls being diagnosed because they tend to mask earlier because of societal pressures that we put on girls at a young age. When a child is diagnosed with autism, then we suddenly jump to judging the mother. We judge the mother for how they parent, how they discipline, for choosing to vaccinate the child, for the things that they do during pregnancy. And then to jump on, based on 1 week study saying, don't take Tylenol to women, what they're really saying is go through more pain during pregnancy. Don't do things that make you comfortable. That really frustrated me. And so I am so grateful to have this article now to further clarify this. Okay, mom of 3 autistic sons, please talk about leucovorin and your thoughts on this medication, please. Okay, so leucovorin is one that I'm excited about, but it is considered an emerging science, an emerging treatment. It is not recommended yet for people to take. There have been 5 randomized clinical trials published, one of which was the greatest finding. Okay, there was one study that really prompted the push for leucovorin because it studied a lot of people, but for a lot was only 70 people, by the way, and showed really promising results. Now they found major issues in the data in that study, and so that study has since been retracted. And so I am not using leucovorin for my children yet. I am optimistic that more studies will come out. My recommendation is if you're curious about leucovorin, look up clinical trials near you that you could be a part of to advance the science. But as of right now, it's one of those things that gives parents false hope when it's not evidence-based. This is the way I feel. I've tried medicine after medication, and none of them help me. JJ, thank you for sharing. All right, let's go ahead and continue answering questions. Do you believe the sugar in the formula has a role with the autism? There's no correlation between formula and autism. Autism is not something developed after a child is born. Autism is how the brain developed in utero, or the latest correlating factor is at birth with premature birth. But we don't have any links to environmental factors after a child is born. We know that autism is mostly genetic, 80 to 90% genetic. And then we do have environmental factors during pregnancy that we do know about. Tylenol is not one of those. I suspect my 9-year-old has a low level of autism, but his doctor insists he doesn't. What do you advise? Scarlett, most doctors are not autism specialists, though they do interact with autism a lot. My recommendation is to do a screener. I have some link to my bio. And if the score in the screener indicates a moderate to high likelihood, to meet with a specialist, a psychologist who specializes in autism, not your pediatrician. All right, you guys, I'm curious on if we have anyone new in this chat. Anyone here finding me for the first time today? Put FYP in the chat. If I just came across your For You page today, put FYP in the chat. I want to know if there's new people here seeing me for the first time. Look at that, you guys. People that just popped in. I'll introduce myself a little bit. We already have 37,000 likes, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the gifts, you guys. If you're new here, welcome to the village. Welcome to our village here of people interested in autism. Whether you're an autism parent, you're autistic, or you just want to know about autism, welcome here. I'm an autism dad. I have 2 kids diagnosed with autism. I'm fairly new to it. About 1.5 years ago is when my first son was diagnosed with autism. I have 4 kids, and my 2 youngest are the ones diagnosed with autism. But long before that, since 2013, I've been working with people who are autistic. I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies with an emphasis in behavior analysis. I I have, I run a company that supports people who are autistic. And my favorite thing to do is to come onto this live and talk to you guys. And the first bit of this live, I just answer questions. And then after a while, I bring people up and we have real conversations with people with questions. So if you're new here, I go live every single day. I've gone live every day for over 100 days in a row. And so go ahead and hit the follow button. That way, if you get disconnected, you can come back and find me. Let's go ahead. Where are you located? I'm in Utah. I am in Utah. All right, you guys. When do doctors diagnose a child on the spectrum even though the parents are in denial? Okay, so I don't know of any circumstance that if the parents refuse to go through the evaluation that the doctor will diagnose anyways. But the problem with that situation isn't the doctor for not diagnosing. The problem is shame on these parents. Shame on parents who withhold a diagnosis out of fear of a label. Shame on parents for not giving a child the support they need to have the best chance for that child to grow the best that they can. Thank you so much for the hat and mustache. I really do appreciate that. It means the world. Shame on the parents for trying to make their kid normal and waiting for them to grow out of it. And let me tell you, the autism doesn't go away. Your child may learn to mask, but when they're an adult and they realize that they have been masking their whole life and they were withheld from services that could support them, they will grow to resent you. You are helping your child by recognizing a challenge they have, labeling that with an evaluation and an autism diagnosis if they fit that criteria, and then getting support and accommodations throughout their life to help them. How do you feel about developmental delay when parents are refusing the autism diagnosis? Okay, so developmental delay, you can absolutely look at a minimum. If a parent is worried about the label of autism, which I don't like that, I could talk about that a lot, but at a minimum in the United States, you can start early intervention without an autism diagnosis under the age of 3. You can get a lot of services even without an autism diagnosis. You can get speech therapy, occupational therapy, and some other developmental supports through the age of 2 until their 3rd birthday. And so each state kind of runs their own version of that. Some, it might be called Head Start or something like that. And the state usually subsidizes the majority of that cost. Okay. Oh, physical therapy. Thank you, Nana. Physical therapy. Yeah, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy are the 3 typical therapies provided during early intervention. I'm an RBT with my master's in ABA. Need unrestricted hours. Does your company provide those hours? Hey, we do it. If you're in Utah, message me. Maybe we can connect on that. We do train. We train a lot of behavior analysts at my company. Yes, you can. Samantha says my son got all of that until he was 3. I love that. Yes, and so that's something that is really helpful even before getting an autism diagnosis. Remember that don't resist that stuff. Early intervention really does matter. Yes, I have my son in speech therapy since 2. Love that. Therapy works. I didn't realize that till recently. Love it. Guys, there are therapies that don't work. Let's talk about pseudoscience. I'm going to make some people mad. This conversation here tends to ruffle some feathers, and I know no judgment to parents who do this, okay? My judgment is not at any of you in the chat. But I want to talk about what are some of these services that we should avoid. Some of these that puts pressure on parents unnecessarily. There's 3 categories, okay? There are 3 categories of services for autism. The first are evidence-based core therapies. These are ABA therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. These 4 things you should consider for your child. Then there's some that are fun to do. They could be extra. They could be adjunct. They may bring joy into your child's life. These are things like music therapy, animal therapy, like horse therapy, art therapy, things like that. Those can be good things and fun. But then you get into this realm of pseudoscience, okay? Pseudoscience, and again, I think a lot of people in this live are going to be mad at me for talking about this, but detoxing is probably the leading pseudoscience within autism, overtaking therapies when there is no good evidence around using detox therapies to address autism supports. How do you know if something is pseudoscience in autism? Well, there's one way that pseudoscience tends to talk about autism. They tend to say that they address the root cause of autism. They tend to say that they address the core of autism. And they do that by claiming autism is caused by toxins, by heavy metals, by gut-brain axis. And then they sell you things like detox protocols. Other pseudoscience includes things like stem cell therapy. That is not something that's evidence-based, and it's expensive. You have to go outside of the U.S. to get it. Don't be going and doing stem cell therapy. That's not evidence-based. It needs more research before it could move into any kind of evidence-based practice. Gluten-free and dairy-free. If your child doesn't have an allergy or an intolerance, there's nothing about gluten-free and dairy-free that actually addresses core autism causes. In fact, autistic kids are more likely to have gut issues, and restricting food items is a great way to continue to have GI problems. If your kid will only eat food that has gluten or dairy and you try to restrict those, well, then your kid's going to be restricted to only one or two things that they can eat, and that does not promote good gut microbiome. So, guys, I share this not to criticize or to judge, but I want this to be freeing for autism parents. I want you to know that there's about 50 different things you could do for your child right now. And everyone is telling you that you do this if you really love your child. You do this if you actually want to give your child a chance at talking. You do this if you actually care about your child and love them. And I want to free you from that mindset. I want you to know that autism doesn't need you to pay all of your money to it. It doesn't need you to dedicate every hour of your day to it. Finding various therapies that are not based in science. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and continue answering these questions. I wasn't even paying attention to the chat for the past couple minutes, and so I don't know if people are hating me or not, but I just wanted to share kind of where the evidence is and hopefully relieve some autism parents here. I was told during my son's early intervention to not give him dairy because it contributes to bad behavior. Lindsay, are you kidding me? What professional told you that? That dairy is linked to bad behavior? That is ridiculous. Now, if they have a dairy intolerance, if they're lactose intolerant, of course. If they have celiac disease, you're going to need to avoid gluten. These are real medical things, not, oh, your kid's autistic, no gluten, no dairy, that'll set them up for success. That's not how that works. I spent my entire life masking, from Micah. Now that I don't mask, my mom says my traits are learned. Oh, interesting. That is a frustrating place to be because your mom didn't see the other side of you. They didn't see the behavior that you were masking for so long. Do you recommend ABA therapy for an autistic child? It's hard to find a good therapist or facility. Mama Queen, yes, ABA therapy is great. Occupational therapy, great. Speech therapy, great. Those are things you should consider. And we can talk at some point about what to actually look for in that therapy. All right, you guys. Dairy can be hard on digestive system. Yeah, if you're lactose intolerant and it causes gut problems, sure, but that's not addressing core autism symptoms like a lot of the claims make. What do you think of ADHD and meds for it? Okay, so ADHD and autism co-occur all the time. If you or your child have autism, put in the chat ADHD if they also have ADHD. Put ADHD in the chat if you or your child have ADHD. I think it'll blow your mind how common it is to be both. ADHD, about 50% of autistic people are also diagnosed with ADHD. 50%. And it's not that it's the same spectrum. It's not. ADHD and autism, yeah, they're both neurodivergent, but it is not the same spectrum. In fact, in 2013, you couldn't be diagnosed with both. It wasn't until 2013 that they said, oh yeah, they're separate, and so if you're autistic, you can also be diagnosed with ADHD. But this is a challenge. If you have ADHD and autism, it's hard. I like to compare it to, like, imagine trying to drive to the store, and having ADHD and autism is like you pushing on the brakes and the gas pedals at the exact same time. Pushing on both pedals simultaneously. It doesn't get you very far, and it breaks down the car. They want different things. Autism and ADHD, they demand different things from your body to regulate. Think about if you have an autistic kid or you're autistic, think of what an autistic kid needs to regulate. They need sameness. They need routine. They need familiarity. They need calm sensory inputs. What does ADHD want? ADHD wants uniqueness, novelty, change. Those things can contradict each other in a painful way. And so medications for ADHD, here's the thing, there's no diet or medication by default that your child needs if they're autistic. However, for ADHD, there are well studied and researched medications that support ADHD. And if your child has both autism and ADHD, imagine being able to resolve half of the issue and really be able to support regulation for your child. Do not judge parents for choosing medication. If my child had signs of both, my child had ADHD, and I knew that medication could quiet his brain, you better believe I'd be doing it. But you got to talk to your pediatrician. Most of the time, they don't start ADHD medications until age 6 or after. Okay. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and continue on with these conversations. ADHD medicine never worked for me. Yeah, I mean it's not a cure-all. You got to work with your doctor. All right, you guys. Is there a real connection with vaccine shots and autism in babies? No, there is not, you guys. There's not even a correlation between vaccines and autism. People like to say correlation is not causation, but we don't even have a correlation that vaccines contribute to autism. Do stem cell treatments really work? They have not been found in the evidence to consistently improve traits of autism. It is not an FDA-approved procedure. It is not. It is falls within the pseudoscience treatment realm at this point, due to lack of evidence. There's still clinical trials going on, and that my mind can change. We can get new research, you guys. It's kind of like what we just found with the Tylenol. If you guys were here, I don't know if people were here for that. I can repeat that, but we found today a study was published yesterday, following up on the claims that Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism, and they found not only is there not a correlation there, but if anything, there was an inverse correlation that those who took Tylenol and were exposed during pregnancy were less likely to be autistic. Wild. I love learning the new research that comes out and keeping up with it. Okay. Is it ever too late to start ABA? My son is 8 and we need to break stereotypic behavior. Look, I guess it depends. So it's never too late. I do ABA therapy with adults with higher support needs. We have clinics dedicated to adults, and we can work on profound things. We worked on things like how to promote good relationships. Relationships is such a hard thing for people with autism, and so in those teen years or adult years, you can even work on things like dating and relationships, things like that. All right, Lexi, hello, good to see you, Lexi. But how do we know this, bro? Because we can't just say that you say it, and now, oh, let me look. But how do we know this? Because we can't just say that you say it, and now we believe it. But it's like it's this one day, and it's the next other. JJ, are you wondering about the Tylenol stuff? Reference the studies. Look, studies, there's actually 2 studies now that have studied the relationship between autism and Tylenol that have not found any correlation. So you can just bring up the research article. I want to learn to trust my therapist so that it can actually work, but I feel they don't care. Raven, you need to find a new therapist then. One of the leading indicators that your therapy is going to be effective is your relationship with that therapist. That needs to come first. And if they're struggling to connect with you, then you might need to find someone else that you can connect with better. Have you heard of the active ingredient L179? It's supposed to help with autism. Oh, that one's an exciting study, an exciting emerging medication, L179. I'm excited about it. Yes, it's very, very early in the stages. And so it's not at all something to be recommending or putting out there, but something to have your eye on over the next couple of years. If it comes out how the developers are intending, it will be the first medication that can be recommended simply because you have an autism diagnosis. Oh, around 15 months old, a child can show signs of possible autism? Yes. If you have a child on the spectrum, how old were they when you saw the first signs of autism? Put it in the chat, you guys. Let's help Maria out. How old was your child when you first saw signs of autism for your child? For my son, he was probably 6 months. 6 months, 9 months is when we really started seeing signs. Around 12 months, we're like, yeah, this is autism. However, some don't recognize the signs until there's a regression in place. And I said that very intentionally. The autism doesn't usually just appear out of nowhere, but during regressions, your eyes really get drawn to the neurodivergent traits. And so there are early signs of autism. Now, if you're wondering, you can take the MChat. It's linked in my bio, and you can determine if it is something you want to go and get evaluated. Technically, psychologists are able to evaluate autism as young as 12 months old, you guys. As early as 12 months old. Most psychologists won't do that, but the test itself, the ADOS, is valid as early as 12 months. Most wait until 18 months. But the earlier the better. Don't wait. Mute or non-crying baby is sign. Okay, so non-crying baby can. But it's not just that they're not crying. There would have to be a sign later on. My daughter was like that. My daughter, who's autistic, didn't cry very much at all. She was very quiet. And we found that she is hyposensitive to things, meaning the sensory inputs and pain and things like that. She doesn't seem to feel as strongly. Lavivi says, my daughter had her evaluation yesterday. They said she had autism mild. What's the next step? Lavivi. Okay. Welcome to the village. Welcome in here, Lavivi. Your daughter had her evaluation yesterday. That's a big step. You guys, I talk about the parts of the autism journey. What is the next step? Okay. And I'm curious, what part of the journey are you guys focused on right now? What part of the journey are you focused on? Let me break down the steps for you. The first step is you need a village. Even before you have a diagnosis, you need to build a village, you guys. You need friends. You need family. You can't do this alone. You're going to be outside of your comfort zone, but you need to build a village, you guys. The second part of the journey is you need clarity. You need to go and get the diagnosis. So maybe you're on a wait list, but you're going and you're finding an evaluation to get clarity. Next is you need to build a care team. And so the person, Lavivi, who asked this, you just got clarity. Your next step is to build a care team. First, this just happened yesterday. I want to check in. How are you? Have you grieved? How are you handling this change? Hearing the news that your child is autistic can be overwhelming. It can be a lot. And it's okay to stop, breathe, catch your breath, and know that everything's okay. Nothing changed about your daughter overnight. She's the same person she's always been. But then the next step is build a care team. You don't have to be. Why do our parents need to grieve us? They're not grieving you. They're not grieving you. But it is a grieving process. They're grieving the life that they expected that they were going to have. And I know it sounds selfish, and I don't want autistic people to think they're the cause of this, but us parents do a very silly thing, and we shouldn't, but we do. Ever since, we get pregnant, we start envisioning what life with that child looks like. We start envisioning, what life looks like that they may, what college are they going to go to? What are they going to be when they grow up? Are they going to have children? I want all the things that I had in life that I loved for my child to also enjoy. And an autism diagnosis is not an unaliving sentence. It is not doesn't mean they're not going to get those things, but it can mean that life looks differently for you. And so going through that process and kind of undoing some of those conceptions that we've had that we shouldn't have, to be able to give our all to the current needs of our child, that can be a lot. Okay. So that was the third step, you guys, building a care team. You don't have to be the expert. It is so overwhelming when your child is first diagnosed to feel like you have to do everything. You hear about gluten-free, dairy-free. People are talking about medications and things. And it's like, what do I do? How do I actually help? There is so much information. Even in this chat, as we talk, I'm seeing people say, oh yeah, take the OAT test so you know what detox type that you need to be doing, what kind of heavy metals you need to detox from, how's the yeast in the gut and the diet. Are you doing this diet yet? And I just want to tell you, stop. Calm down. You don't need to do any of that right now. Maybe ever. What you need to do right now is surround yourself with the best experts you can find. There are only 4 therapies I want your mind on right now. If your child was just diagnosed, only 4 therapies. That's all you have to think about right now. ABA therapy. This is the most intensive, up to 30 hours a week usually. And they can really promote skill building, reducing problem behaviors, and help support communication. Occupational therapy, they specialize in sensory needs and sometimes feeding therapy if your child's a rigid eater. Speech therapy, they're the experts on communication and can guide and even support ABA a little bit. If they're a good speech therapist, they can support the whole team in guiding the communication goals and process. And then if your child has anxiety or depression or other mental health concerns, mental health therapy. That's it. That's all you need to do. Find those therapists first. Don't worry about all the other things. Don't worry about the people are going to tell you that you need to reverse it, that you need to find the core cause. All of that is bogus. What you need to do right now is surround yourself with experts that know more than you do about autism and about how to support. They don't know your child better than you do. You are the child's expert. That's why you are the care team manager managing these people. You're the boss. But as a boss, you don't want people that aren't smarter than you working for you. No, you want the smarter people working with your child. So you hire ABA therapist, you hire a speech therapist and an occupational therapist, and you say, okay, you get them all on a text thread, and you say, okay, guys, we're managing, we're working on this thing together. What are we gonna do? Now, after you're in therapy, now we can jump in and let's, catch your breath, feel good, get comfortable with the therapies. And now let's do all we can to learn about autism. Let's learn about what it looks like. Let's learn about what is it going to look like during puberty. Is their child benefiting from the therapies? If they graduate and you want to do some other fun things, there's some other supportive therapies that can be good, like music therapy or art therapy or, horse therapy. Those stuff can be fun. They don't replace the core therapies though. And then the fifth part of this journey is planning for the future. The financial side of it. Do you have long-term supports in place? How do you do that? Well, you guys, these 5 steps I break down in the ebook. All my stuff is free. I don't sell anything. I don't know if you guys knew that. I don't sell anything right now. I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing this. I just do this because it's fun and I love it. And it drives me nuts. Look, I've been in the autism world forever, but I noticed the moment my own children were diagnosed that we are sold to and taken advantage of for the fear that we have as parents. We are given false promises. And it drives me nuts. The whole autism industry drives me nuts. So much profit going on with these pseudoscientific supports and therapies and misinformation out there. And I just really want to support people and make sure that the message gets out there that like you need to focus on yourself. You need to do the basic therapies, the ABA, the OT, the speech. And you need to plan for your kid's future. Now, I did tell my wife she should write a children's book. Do you guys think she should? She is an amazing illustrator. She's an amazing writer. And she is just as passionate about autism as I am. So I told her, look, I'm not selling anything, but write a children's book and I'll bring it up every day. And then we can sell that or something. But you know what? You're not going to find detox things to buy on my profile or nothing like that, you guys. All right, let's keep talking, you guys. What other questions? Your opinion about folinic acid. Okay, so folinic acid or leucovorin is a medication that's looking promising, but it's not evidence-based yet. There's not enough research to say that it's helpful. There's mixed results, and I think a lot of parents are kind of using their kids to experiment to see if it works for them. I'm not mad at parents for doing that. I don't love that it was like broadcasted as a widespread treatment, but one of the positive things that will come from this is the robust amount of research that will be coming out. And I hope in the coming months, I'm able to report on new studies that say, hey, leucovorin should work in these circumstances. I support it. I hope that is the outcome. I have a question. What is the autistic's relationship with food? Open for the streamer and commenters. Jack, good question. If your child or if you have restricted eating, let me know in the chat. Say yes in the chat. If you or your child have a hard time eating a variety of foods. Something you have to understand about autism is, look at all these yeses, you guys. Look at all these yeses. Something you need to understand about autism is the complexity of the sensory component of autism. People with autism tend to feel more things at the same time, where a neurotypical brain may prune out irrelevant things going on, like the lights or sounds or the feeling of your socks or the feeling of your glasses. Many autistic people don't filter that out. And that's no different from, touch and hearing and seeing, but also the feelings that you have in the mouth, your sensory inputs, the taste. And So a lot of people with autism have major sensory issues around food. There's actually a diagnosis called ARFID that refers to highly restricted eating. Now, I do not promote old school strategies of parenting for feeding. Tell me in the chat, what were the rules? What were the rules that you had growing up about food? And our parents were doing the best they could, but we had a rule of like, you had to eat everything on your plate, right? You had to eat everything, and you had to eat what your parents cooked. And if we didn't eat everything, our parents made us sit at the table for 15 minutes, and then we could leave. But that is, if you have a child with autism, that is not the strategy that is going to help your child. You do not get to say, eat what we cooked or go to bed hungry. My dad would tell me it's okay if I don't like it. Just try it first. Divine, I love that. That is a great strategy. You have to at least taste it, but you don't have to eat it. That's okay. And I love seeing the comments here of I would never force my kids to eat. Look, guys, with autism, if you tell them that they have to eat what you cooked or they'll go to bed hungry, they'll starve. If you don't think that, you really underestimate how powerful and profound these sensory challenges really are for that person, and the amount of distress and trauma that you are causing them. So my number one recommendation for parents who are struggling with this with their kids is start with their safe foods. If their safe foods include pizza, chicken nuggets, and French fries, and that's it, well, that's your baseline. That's your starting place. You always have that food available. When your family goes out to eat, guess what? You got to make sure that you're going somewhere that has one of their safe foods. And I know this sounds like enabling, but it's not. This is the starting place. This is making sure that they're regulated and in a place to be able to expand what they eat. My son was very strict on what he would eat. And we have had 2 wins over the past week. Okay, 2 huge wins. I can't even call him a picky eater anymore, you guys. Like, this is a huge victory. My son, who's a picky eater, we have been putting new foods around him and just seeing what he does. We put him on the plate, and he ate apple slices, you guys. He ate the apples and liked it. And I was blown away. He had never done that before. He always refused it. He ate apples. And then just 2 days ago on Sunday, we had peas on his plate, and he's never once touched them. And I looked over, and all of the peas were gone. He had put them all in his mouth, and he ate them. He had seconds of peas, you guys. And so I know that experience, it came easier for my son than others. And so I recognize that he was very restricted in what he would eat. He's turning 4. He's coming up on 4. He's 3.5. And he still is pretty restricted. I mean, most of his diet consists of food pouches. Even when we offer foods, he's usually not willing to have it. But it wasn't about forcing him to do it. I can't tell him to do a dang thing. He doesn't listen to me. I can't make him do anything. He's my only kid that like I cannot give an instruction to. I can't say go do this, and he's never done it. And so I didn't get him to do anything. I first made sure that he felt safe around food. There's no pressure around it. If he wants to taste it, great. If not, that's fine. But then I increased the opportunities to where he could. I think sometimes we get in the habit of, as parents, of like, oh, he won't eat that, so I'm not going to waste it and put it on his plate. No, don't do that. Give them their safe food, but also have the other food available. Okay. And if having it on the plate is too much, that it'll ruin things, just put it on a second plate that's next to his. Zazie, thank you. Yes, build that safety first. That's all that matters. Yes, build the safety first and then increase opportunities to expand. What happens when someone goes undiagnosed all their life? Look, that breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because most likely if you're undiagnosed your whole life, you felt like you didn't belong without an answer as to why. You felt like it was hard to make a friend when it came so easy for other people. And whether you want to accept it or not, you internalize that as being your fault. and something within your control that something must be wrong with you. You had a hard time recognizing social norms, and people thought you were weird. And it makes me sad because you could have had support. You could have had validation. That goes a long ways. How do you go about a parent who won't accept the fact that their kid was diagnosed? How do I want to answer that? I don't want to get upset on this live, you guys. I don't want you to see the angry version of me. I'll save that for another day, maybe. We'll see if I can control myself. I think first we have to understand why might a parent, what do you think? Why might a parent reject a diagnosis that their child has been given? Tell me in the chat. I want to know, why do you think a parent, what may cause a parent to reject the child's diagnosis? Denial, terrified, embarrassment, or judgment? Danielle, I live through that every day. I'm so sorry. Denial. Any parent doesn't accept their child should be thrown to the pits of hell. That is one way to put it. Thank you. It makes someone uncomfortable. Guys, when my son, I'll be empathetic first. When I first saw signs of autism, I denied it first. I thought, oh, he'll grow out of this. All kids do this, and I was hoping he'd grow out of it. But if you, and let me tell you the most frustrating part of this. When I hear stories about this, I'm gonna overgeneralize. But it's my experience of what I've seen. Okay, this isn't scientific. This isn't evidence-based. But what I've seen is a lot of times it's the mom who stays at home, who deals with the child all day and sees the autism and the challenges day in and day out. And then the spouse who is away from home tends to blame on the spouse that is at home. Instead of accepting that there could be a disability impacting their child, they push it onto the spouse that's at home, criticizing the way that they discipline. Whether they directly criticize it or imply it, they say, you need to discipline them more. You need to parent them differently. You need to, you need to force them to do this or that. And they blame it on the parent that's at home. And I think what bothers me about this is that they think that they're doing their child a service by protecting them from the label of autism. That's what I hear the most. Why do parents reject it? They say that I don't want my child to have that label. And what that tells me is that you as a person think that autism is a bad thing. That you as a person don't accept people who are autistic. And until you can work through that problem, which is a you problem, you're not going to be able to accept your child. Autism is a disability, but ignoring it and pretending like it doesn't exist is not going to do anything. It's not going to support your child. You can't ignore it away. Your child doesn't grow out of it. And if you don't accept it and support them with their unique needs, your child is going to grow up to resent you. So if someone, my big takeaway here, I know I'm ranting on this one, but my big takeaway here is if you have a spouse, a partner, or a family member who refuses to accept that your child's autistic when they have a diagnosis, you need to tell them that the problem is not the child, it's them. They are the problem. There is a problem with them that they do not accept people with autism. You're not harming your child by giving them that label. Hey, Charlene, good to see you. It's like if you have diabetes or high blood pressure, it's not shameful. Yeah, it just is. It is what it is, and it's something that needs support and love and acceptance. My husband is the worst on this kind. Jane, I'm so sorry. Jane, you deserve your partner to be right there with you. Not only is denying it harmful to the child, but denying it puts the entirety of the mental load of supporting the child back onto you. If your husband is able to say, oh, I don't even think he's autistic, suddenly he feels like he no longer has to worry about their therapy. He doesn't have to worry about their sensory needs or all of their appointments. That's now on you, the one who thinks you're taking the easy way out, putting the label on them. My wife is a problem. Yeah, it's not always the man who's a problem. I'm not trying to say that. And it's not always a problem. Sometimes someone just takes a minute to come around. Once I had a parent who rejected ABA, early intervention, because she didn't want people in her home. Yeah, having people in her home, I get it. I get it, guys. Having people in your home can be a lot. But if your child needs the support, then you got to kind of make it happen. I went through all of this alone with no family at the age of 19. Michelle. Oh, Brooklyn. My wife says, Kylan, I think you're onto something here. Another form of weaponized incompetence. Yeah, I think it is. Guys, I think denying your child's autism is a form of weaponized incompetence. That by you saying you don't believe it's real, you are stepping away from all the responsibilities that come with supporting a child with disabilities. That's weaponized incompetence. Absolutely. Does autism come from the mom or dad side, or does it come from both? Ashley, that's a good question. Autism is what we refer to as polygenic, meaning it's not one gene that's impacted. So it doesn't just come from mom or dad. We know it's 80 to 90% genetic, and it can come from either or both. And a lot of times it's how it can come from both in the essence of like both give a separate gene or variation that the way it interacts with each other may impact the development of autism in utero. So it's complex, not coming from boys or girls or the mother or father. Could environment have impact on that as well? Yes, environment does play a role, but environment plays a role during pregnancy. It doesn't play a role after a child's born, okay? So when people say it's environmental, what they're referring to is some of these correlations that have been identified during pregnancy. So some of those include things like parental age, specifically the father's age at conception, things like infections in the mother during pregnancy, things like exposure to pollution or toxins like pesticides and wildfire smoke and pollution from vehicles. Tylenol, interestingly, a new study came out yesterday that I've talked about today a little bit. If you're new coming on here, Tylenol, a new study came out just yesterday. Not only did they find that it doesn't cause autism, that there was no correlation, but if anything, there was an inverse correlation, meaning those who were exposed to Tylenol during pregnancy had a 1.8% chance of autism. Those who were not exposed to Tylenol had a 3% chance of autism, almost double chance of autism for those people who are not exposed to Tylenol. Which is mind-blowing. And so we're constantly learning and figuring things out about those environmental factors and what specific genes. So it's not that we don't know what causes autism. We know a lot about what impacts autism. But there are little pieces that we're still putting together, and it's going to be a lifelong of learning and figuring out all the genes that can factor into this, because it's a complex situation. It's not as simple as one chromosome being absent. There's a number of genes and a number of environmental factors contributing. Could you make a video about the active ingredient L179 to help make it more well known? I will. I know about it and I've read about it. I'll need to do more research into it to be able to feel like I can talk more eloquently about it on this live or in a video. But it is an emerging science that I'm excited about, but is early stages. So we got to there's time to learn about it. But you're right. The more attention that is drawn to it, the quicker things can become studied. Do you think everyone can be on the spectrum in a way? No. That's not what it means by the spectrum. It's not referring to like, hey, everybody falls somewhere on this spectrum. No, that's kind of like saying everyone's a little pregnant, right? Like we know pregnancy falls across 9 months, but that doesn't mean everybody's a little bit pregnant. And so like autism is a spectrum, but not in that way that it impacts everybody. Now, a lot of people can have autistic traits without being diagnosed with autism. For example, I've taken several screeners. When my children were diagnosed with autism, and I know that autism is genetic, well, of course I look inward and I think maybe could I be autistic? I took screeners, which indicated that there was not any clinical significance to me pursuing a diagnosis. However, I definitely see autistic traits in myself. I don't know if you guys know this, but I tend to have a fidget toy here on this live. I like having my hands busy. If you hear it clicking sometimes, that's what I'm doing. But that doesn't make me autistic. There's a lot with autism that goes into this. So thank you, Lexi, for bringing that up. We do have a Discord chat. We have a Facebook group. We also, if you get disconnected from this live, I want you to be able to find us back. I go live on a daily basis for an hour and a half or so, 2 hours sometimes. And you can click the follow button right there to make sure that you can find next time that I go live, or if you get disconnected. Does preeclampsia play a part in it? I am unsure. I'll look into that one more to be able to answer. I don't want to speak on something I don't have data on right now. How does one child out of 3 siblings with the same parents have autism? Okay, that's a good question. So if you have one child diagnosed with autism, we know that autism is genetic, and so some people wonder, well, then why don't all of your kids have autism? Well, we do know that it greatly increases the odds of autism if you have one child who is autistic. In fact, it goes from like about 2 to 3% chance of having autism for anyone, that it kind of multiplies that by 10 if you already have one child who's autistic. So you have about a 1 in 5 chance for your next child to be autistic. So in my household, 2 out of our 4 kids are diagnosed with autism. All right. Oh, it is April 14th. Someone brought up taxes. Why do you got to bring up taxes right now? Now you just got to stress me out. Do you think autism rates are higher in IVF cases? Okay, that's one. Let me look that up, actually. I want to know. If I don't know something, I look it up. I tend to use cite.ai to summarize some data here. It does have access to all of the medical research articles. So let's see. Okay, so we'll learn. So all of a sudden our gene pool is deteriorating. Bob, no. Okay, that is a good question, and I understand why you ask it, Bob. I really do. Okay, so if we're saying autism is genetic, are we saying that our genes are deteriorating? First of all, autism is not reflective of deteriorating genes. And so like let's be careful about some eugenic language here of preventing autism genes. Let's see. There's no clear evidence that IVF causes autism. Okay. But some studies have found IVF have a slightly higher rate. But most researchers think it's due to confounding factors. Parental age is already a known factor for increased likelihood of autism, and most IVF children are from older parents. And so there can be confounding factors here. So they don't believe IVF contributes to autism. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk about this real quick about the increased rates. Why do I lash out emotionally? Why do people tell me my autism is an excuse? Okay, Lexi, I'll touch on that here in a minute. Especially using autism as an excuse. I'll touch on that. But first, let me get into why. Okay, Bob, very good questions here. So all older people are having more children. That's okay. That was an unrelated thing. I kind of jumped around. I apologize, Bob. Let me finish this discussion. Why are we seeing more autism cases? Is there an epidemic of autism going on? Put yes or no in the chat. Let me know. Do we have an epidemic of autism going on? This is an important thing to learn about, you guys. We know, okay, here's the data. Here's the data, you guys. In the year 2000, 1 in 150 people were autistic. Now in 2026, the frequency or the occurrence of autism is 5 times greater. 5 times. 1 in 31. 1 in 150 to 1 in 31. That's a big jump. That's a big jump. There is an increase in diagnoses of autism. What we don't know is there an increase in actual rates of autism? That is something that we don't know. And it's going to be hard to know because the diagnosis and the definition literally changed 13 years ago. Before 2013, only those most profoundly impacted by autism were diagnosed. In 2013, the spectrum, the diagnosis of autism changed. It combined 3 diagnoses into one, and it created this broad net that can catch a lot of people to fall under it. And so that's kind of like saying that okay, like let's say that we only counted people to have diabetes if they were in a diabetic coma, right? And then now we're diagnosing everybody who has diabetes with diabetes. Would we say that there was a huge increase just because the number increased? No, it's because we're understanding it better. We're diagnosing it more, catching it earlier. Okay, so what about using autism as an excuse? I think people who directly blame another person and say, you're just using autism as an excuse, I think they're being judgmental and don't have empathy and likely don't understand what it feels like to be autistic. And I have metaphors that I can share, but really it can help people know, not just like say, I can't do that because I'm autistic. I don't like that language. But telling people, hey, look, like being at this family event is hard. Let me explain why and what I feel being here and what support I would like to have. Okay, people irk me thinking people are just self-diagnosing because it's cool to do. Yeah, it's, guys, there's definitely an increase in awareness, but being diagnosed with a disability typically is not a trend or something that people seek. But what I will say is they're finally discovering that it's explained a lot of the challenges that they've had throughout their life. That's validating. All right, you guys, let's bring some people up and have some conversations. I see people in the guest box. I'll go ahead and we'll bring Lexi up. Lexi's a friend. We bring Lexi up because she's a moderator. We love having Lexi here. Make sure you're following her. She's great. But if you want to come up and ask a question, feel free to. Danielle, we'll bring you up. Danielle, I think we've talked before, haven't we? Remind me.
Yes.
Catch me up, Danielle. I'm trying to remember our conversations.
I have twins that have autism, a boy and a girl,
Yeah.
and stop. No, 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 no. But so my twin boy, he he's been having issues. really bad to the point to where he's acting up at ABA to the point to where he's throwing things, and if the BC, BCBA is not with him,
Yeah.
he will literally like almost hurt the kids in the
How
class.
old is he?
He is 5.
He's 5. Okay. That
Uh,
that is hard. And what solutions have they given? Here's the thing: is Danielle, you as the mom are sitting here concerned about how his behavior is at ABA, which is literally the therapy that he needs to receive support for that. And so it always blows my
yeah.
mind because I've seen this before where ABA comes to the parents and says, "You know, your child did this or that at therapy today." I'm like, yeah, that's why he's in therapy. That's why he's going there every single day. Can you help
Well,
me?
yeah, and they're suggesting, I mean, to put him on medication where the but he hasn't been diagnosed with ADHD yet.
Okay. Yeah, and it very
But
well could, like, ADHD and autism are brutal when they're combined.
oh
Do
yeah,
you think
but
there's
the problem,
ADHD here?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes. The problem is his father will tell me no, and that's another thing. But
His
it
father
got to the
what?
point here at home, he's broken a window.
Can you say that again about his father?
His father will tell me no on the medication.
Like his father says that he doesn't want
His
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 kid on
son on
medication.
no, the kid's on medication.
Why?
Period. He just doesn't. He doesn't believe it.
Okay. Are you married to him right now?
No,
You're
but we are
separated? You're
together.
divorced?
No, no, we've never been.
Okay. But separate household then?
No, we live together.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, Danielle. It's kind of hard to hear you with the background noise. Um, can you move like away from the
Can you
background
hear
noise
me
a
now?
little bit? Yeah, that's way better. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that's
I'm
a lot
trying to keep
better.
an eye on my son at the same time.
No, you're good, Danielle. I
No
I
worries.
Yeah.
We
understand.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so your his father, who's in the same household, says that that's not what he wants. But he
Yeah.
won't even have it open for discussion. It's just like
No.
he's drawn a line.
Yeah. And the
That's a
problem is
concern.
he doesn't even believe that like there's an issue. And like he's never really around because he's a truck driver. And he's like, well, and so like I really rarely discuss anything with him. I just put them in their therapies they need because I know he's going to tell me no.
Oh
I
my
want to do
gosh.
what's best for the kids, and so I just put them in their therapies. But now on the medication, I don't. I just feel like I don't. I think that's a line I don't know. I feel like is I don't know if I should even draw. But then also they're
If your
wanting.
child was diabetic and needed insulin to survive,
Yeah.
would he allow that to happen?
Well, he's diabetic, so yeah, he would. He would.
Okay, so the problem here is not that he's against medication. The problem here is that he is denying his child's needs.
Hmm.
The problem isn't that he's anti-medicine. The problem is that he is. I mean, is he? Do you feel like he's passing blame onto you for some of these things?
Oh yeah, tremendously.
What does he
Because
say?
he says I don't discipline them enough. I don't do this. I don't do that. Well, I'm sorry, but spanking a child with autism is not the right thing,
No,
and
it's
he
not.
thinks that I should do that. But I'm totally against that.
Yeah, yeah. You are in the right here. What really bothers me is that your husband is not the one taking care of your kids all day. Your husband is not the
Yeah.
one seeing it firsthand. And so it's wild that he thinks he gets to have an opinion on a very real disability that your child is diagnosed with. And I think the problem here is, you need to fight back hard on this, because what I'm hearing here is that that your husband or your partner is not acknowledging the needs that his son has. That's like saying, "Hey, your child can't see well." No, he doesn't need glasses. He just needs to. You just need to spank him until he can see better. Like, do you see how silly that is?
Yeah. Yep.
And it sounds like you're the main caregiver in this situation. You're the one
Mhm.
that's home because you did say that he's a truck driver, and I know that people who have that kind of a job are on the road a lot of
Mhm.
the time. Um, he doesn't see what you see on a day-by-day basis. He doesn't
Yeah.
experience what you experience as a mom, the primary
Yeah.
caregiver, on a day-by-day basis. I would honestly suggest to have like a conversation with him, um, if you can, because I don't know your situation with communicating with him. But I would honestly suggest to have a conversation with him if it's available, if you're able to have one, and if you're not, then at the next therapy appointment where you meet with your BCBA, I don't know what they call it at your ABA center, but they call it family engagement at my son's ABA center.
Mhm.
Have him attend and have him listen to the BCBA on all of the
He
struggles that they're having with your child.
he won't.
Then he doesn't get a say.
Yeah, then
If
he
he's not
doesn't
going
get
to
a
be an
Yeah.
say.
active
That.
Yeah,
father,
he
why does
doesn't.
he think
Yeah.
he gets a say in the care?
Yeah. And that's just yeah. And they said, well, if the medication isn't an option,
Well, you need to
then
tell him that
we
you
need
don't
to.
believe in his diabetes, and that you don't think
Yeah.
he gets medicine for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the school said if the medication isn't an option, then inpatient would be the best bet.
So when does he leave for his next trip?
Tonight.
Tonight. Okay. Tomorrow, set an appointment with your pediatrician. Take your child to your pediatrician. Explain to your pediatrician what your BCBA or the school is telling you. She might
We
be able to
actually
prescribe your child medication and just give it to him. Don't tell him.
the the pediatrician here in Oklahoma won't prescribe it. We have an appointment with a psychologist next month.
Hopefully, it's a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Psychologists can't diagnose.
Psychiatrist. Sorry.
Psychiatrists, good. Yeah, psychiatrists are medical doctors and they can prescribe
Yeah.
medicine. So this
Mhm.
look, this is a big deal, and it goes beyond. Like I want to make sure I don't agree with us doing anything behind a parent's back, but this is worthy of therapy. This is a need of going to therapy for this.
Do what? I'm sorry. What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Yes, you.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
this is something where therapy may be a good thing, a couples therapy. Just because
Yeah.
I see that there's potentially one, I would never for anything tell my wife like you can never do this. Like this is that we cannot discuss. I am the man, so I get a pick. That is harmful. Like that's not how real men talk. We're a partnership, my wife
Mhm.
and we make decisions as adults, as partners. And so like
Yeah, I've
that's a
heard
big
that.
thing that I think may need couples therapy for you guys. But
I'll
you
try
need to make
again.
sure that he sees, like, have another discussion with him and say, hey, look, like I'm going to go to the doctor and see what a professional thinks, because our son has a disability, and
Mhm.
sometimes disabilities need support. And compare
Mhm.
it to his diabetes. I want you to make him feel it. I want you to say, you saying that you don't believe in his disability is just like me saying that I don't believe in your diabetes. And just like you say that he shouldn't have medication or support to help him is like me saying I don't think you should have medicine for your diabetes. This is medical care that you are denying for our child. and you might have to speak up. And but that's the way I would approach it.
Yeah, yeah, because
Brooklyn said, honey, how many chances are you going to give him?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because if he goes to school next year, he's just gonna get kicked out. And,
I need you to hear this, Danielle, that you have not caused this in your child. This has not been your parenting.
mhm,
I know that autism parents and that you, Danielle, are among the most responsive, interactive, supportive parents on the planet. And our kids need real support. And for sometimes that's medication, but also you need to let your ABA know they don't need to be coming to you for answers. They need to be coming to you with solutions, and not to get a solution from you, but presenting you with options and solutions.
mhm,
But you are not to you did not cause autism. This is not made up in your head. If he has a real diagnosis, you did not make this up in your head, and your parenting is enough. You are doing enough. And this is completely an issue with your partner, and he needs to get on board and decide if he's going to care for his child or if he's going to just be a financial caretaker from here on out.
mhm, yes.
So Danielle, keep us posted on how this goes. I do want to ask you,
Oh,
are you safe?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I I read a terrifying statistic the other day of I think it's 1 in 3 women are victims of DV, and it terrifies me. And I want you to know that sometimes in these similar controlling environments that can express in other ways. So if you need
Yeah,
help, just
and
know help is out there.
yes, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Danielle, thank you
Mhm.
for coming up here. Please keep us posted.
I will, thank you.
All right. Bye. Lexi, do you have other thoughts?
No, I'm sorry if it came off as I was trying to like tell her to do something behind her husband's back. That was not my intention.
No, you're fine.
My
Hey, you get
intention
your
was
we're
more
different
about
people,
the
Lexi.
child.
You can
Yeah,
say what comes to your mind. That's fine.
it's just it irks me when parents have the solution and then there's that one and I think I took it a little more personal because my son's dad never accepted his diagnosis. I obviously left him. I'm not with him, but it irks me when people deny children or anybody the help that they need. Um, and it's so sad because if we could provide them with something that would make their life easier, why stop that? Because it's a medication. I mean, I just don't get the thought process behind I don't want to medicate my child, but I know that he has, ADHD and there's a medication that could help him have a better life.
Oh, I agree.
You know, I don't get it.
I'm on the same page, and I'm feeling overwhelmed here seeing the number of women on here that voluntarily express that they're a DV survivor. And I think it's something that I don't think I ever realized how common this is. And I had never been so aware of how many people may be going through this right now. And layering that on top of trying to do what's best for your child when they're on the spectrum adds a whole level of complexity that I don't think ever gets talked about.
Brooklyn said it perfectly. It's the term is medical AV.
Mm, yeah.
If you're denying your child the medication that can help them because of a diagnosis that they have, that is technically considered medical AV. And I agree with her on that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, guys, if you've been through that stuff, I'm so sorry. And I am not equipped to help women through that, but I definitely can pinpoint signs. Not that I'm saying that the last caller is going through that, but when there is this over controlling or medical, we're coming to the end of it, so I'll just say it, medical abuse. Is that the word, Lexi? Am I going to get flagged for saying that? Is that the word?
Yes, that's the word, and yes, you will get flagged.
Okay. Um, but guys, I look, if your if your partner refuses medication for the child or refuses to even be part of that discussion, that kind of controlling behavior does appear to correlate with other controlling behaviors. And I mean, I think there's other people way more qualified to talk about this than me, but I just, if you're going through that right now and just no level of hands-on physical violence is ever appropriate. You're not crazy for thinking that something feels off. And I know that it has to be going through your mind that you have a kid with special needs and you need that support. But more than that, your child needs you safe and regulated. Like, see, I don't. You're probably a lot more qualified to talk about this than I am, and you can say any words that you want to because we're coming to the end here. But I don't know if you have thoughts on this or feel like you want to touch on it at all.
Yeah, it's sad how many women have had to go through cases of DV. I think most of us, and I include myself because I'm also a DV survivor,
Oh my gosh.
um, that most of us that go through it, it's very traumatizing. Um, Everything that you do end up experiencing. And each case is different, of course, some are physical aggression, some are, it's kind of like autism. We all know someone or have someone who's had it or who hasn't, but um, or who's been through it. Um, and in that sense, the only thing that I can say would be to the women who are currently going through it, there is help out there. You do not have to stay in that toxic environment. Lean on your family if you have it, friends, close friends, relatives, church, whatever it is that you confide, the people you confide in, the people that love you, the people that are going to be there for you. Lean on them and don't feel like a burden. It's a part of what you're going through, but definitely if you can safely get out because it's not helpful to yourself or to your child if your child has autism.
Yeah.
Um, our children with autism, they have like a sixth sense, I call it. They know when we're happy, they know when we're sad, they know when we're hurt. And we don't have to express that with words, which is one of the things that I've learned over the years with my son, is
Yeah.
that I don't have to tell him I'm sad. He knows. He has we have a different bond. And if you're going through a difficult situation like DD, um, they feel it and they know. And it's
Yeah.
more detrimental to them in the long run, psychologically, emotionally. I mean, leaving the situation can even be the one thing that helps your child start to emotionally regulate
Yeah.
because they're emotionally dysregulated because everything going on at home, whether it be arguments or fights or hands being put on you or on your child because the other partner is upset or mad or frustrated and taking it out on somebody else. Um, so I would strongly suggest to lean in on people who love you, who care about you, and who have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And get out of that situation. It's only going to help yourself and your child. And
Yeah.
if you don't feel safe enough to get out, or if you don't feel like you have a community, we do have our Discord. We do have our Facebook page. We're a
Yeah.
support group, and we support everybody on here, no matter what your situation is. We support everybody, and as women, Brooklyn is the one that mostly carries the Facebook page, and then I mostly carry the Discord page. We're women and we understand, and we're we're here for you.
Yeah.
Kylan's also on there, but he's busy. He has a real job. Um,
Oh, don't say that. You guys have, we
but
all have, if we're autism parents, we all have a very real job.
yes.
Yeah.
But there is help out there, and if there's anything that we can do, maybe look up some free resources in your area for you or something along those lines, please feel free to message us either on Discord, Facebook, or via one of the chats. We're always checking them constantly every single day, making sure um, that we try to get to people in a timely manner. If it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I do not promise you I will answer you. But but join our support groups. You'll find a lot of great people on there.
Yeah.
They're only people that come on these lives, so it's not like strangers outside that we don't know. We vet everybody that goes into our spaces, and we're really quick to block if something is not appropriate for our groups. So
I've,
if you find yourself needing support, please join us. We would love to support you all.
we're all in this together, you guys. I, I gotta say that I am still overwhelmed by the number of people on here who opened up about them being a victims of domestic violence. And thank you for opening up. And I think being brave to talk about that like that, even if there's, I mean, the chances are that there's someone in here, someone within these 200 people, that this is their real life experience right now. And the number of people who spoke up and said, I went through this, you very well may have given them the confidence they need to move forward with this. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. I know that's off topic of autism, but it's not really, because anything relating to our relationships and building a village and you protecting yourself impacts how you can take care of your child with autism. And so just know, like, you can always message me if you need a safe place, but I've never been through that. I'm not qualified to talk about domestic violence. But if you look in the people who spoke up and they've been through it, and if you've been through it and you're willing for someone to reach out to you if they're having a hard time, you can put it in the chat. I want to make sure you know that there's people here that are safe, that you can talk to if this is your life. So there's people already commenting saying that they're open to it. So if this is your life experience, you can absolutely. I've had people directly message me before and tell me that that's what they're going through, and they didn't live in this country, but they expressed in detail what's going on with her and her autistic child, and it broke my heart. And I want you guys to know that there's people here that can chat with you in private about these hard things that you're going through. Thank you, guys. All right. If you're new here, just know that I go live on a daily basis. We talk about autism. We talk about being a village together as autism parents or people who are autistic. We educate, we inform, and we learn together. And we'll go live again tomorrow. This is the end. Anything else, Lexi, that you want to add before we end?
I just want everybody in here to know that you are loved, you are important, and I don't want anybody here to feel like they are alone. Earlier, I sent Kylan a video that broke my heart. where there was a mom who unalived herself and her child because she felt like she was alone and she didn't have the support.
Yeah.
And I did message Kylan and I told him I hope that our village understands and knows that they are not alone and that they have all of us to support each other. So if you do feel like you don't have support, if you feel like you're alone, if you need to talk to somebody, if anything, as much as there are mental health specialists out there that I'm pretty sure you can get a hold of if you need something right in the moment, if you feel like you just need to get something off your chest. Again, I know I say this, but I said this a lot, but honestly, join our Discord, join our Facebook groups page. There, the links are in Kylan's bio. If you click on Kylan's name, there will be the link tree. You click on the link tree, and it's going to give you all the links that you need to get to the places where you need to go. If you can't get into Discord, I've helped. I don't even know how many people get into Discord at this point in time. Um, message me, let me know that you can't get into the Discord. I'll help you be able to join our Discord. This is so important to me. I think
Yeah.
ever since I watched that news article that or that news that I showed you, it's important to know that that we're here for you, that there are people out there for you, and for you to feel like you are important because your child needs you.
Yeah.
If anything else, your child needs you. Nobody knows your child better than you do. And taking that weight out is so difficult. Um, we need each other. And yes, I agree. Therapy is amazing. If you can get into therapy immediately, definitely do that. I think it's a great help. But if in the moment right now you feel like you're drowning, like you are struggling, like you don't see a way out, please, please, please join our Discord, join our Facebook group. We'll be more than happy, even if it's just somebody to listen to you, just a rant, or
Yeah.
you're just fed up. It's okay. We're here and we're a village, and we maybe have been through the same thing or something fault or something similar. Maybe we can support each other because we all need help. This life is autism parenting is you know so difficult already, and you add on all of these different things, and PTSD and autism parents is real.
Yeah.
um we just need support. We need, as much as we support our children, we as parents, caregivers, we need that support too. So please, please, please don't feel like you're ever alone. Anybody here in the chat, I saw a couple questions. Follow me if you want to. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with people following me. Um, Join us on Discord. We can have a private one-on-one conversation, or we can have a conversation in general in the general chat. To me, it doesn't matter where we have it. Just make sure that you're having that conversation with somebody um, who cares, and somebody who loves you, and somebody who who will support you
Yeah.
in what you need, because this is so important to me right now. It's like the number one thing on my mind. I don't
Well,
ever want another autism parent to feel like that's the proper way out, because it's not.
well, Lexi, you should know you've already helped people, and I shared this the other day, but I'll share it again to the 170 people watching right now that I was not at the point of something like that, but I was in the middle of a pretty bad panic attack the other night, and I was and y'all are gonna think less of me for saying this, but I was sitting on my bathroom floor crying, having a hard time about things, and really hard. And I got a message from Lexi, um, telling me about how much my live and my videos have meant to her, and it's that a kind message went a long ways for me. And I just want to tell you guys, you can have that impact on others. That just a kind, supportive message of sharing your love with someone and sharing how someone has helped you. It goes a long ways. So, yeah, Lexi, thank you for that.
No problem, Caitlin. And Caitlin said it best. We do not think less of you. We are autism parents. We understand. I've had a panic attack before. Unfortunately, at that point in time, I hadn't ran into this village. Um, when my child was having a really bad tantrum and meltdown, and I had a panic attack by myself. And I know that those are really hard to get through, especially when you're in that circumstance. And um, I agree with what Brooklyn said. Everyone send a message to somebody today, spread some love and joy.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Everybody just anybody who you know who is an autism parent, or anybody who you know who is having a hard time, just send them a message of, I didn't know that Kylan was going through that at the time when I sent him the message. Something just told me like to express my gratitude for him and for everything that he does. That's the reason why I'm here every day with Kylan. I know some of you may not know who I am, but I do this because I care, because I want people to know that you have somebody you can count on, even if we're 500 or 1,000 miles away, we're still here for you. So, um, everybody, everybody just, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Love your children, care for them, love them, give them all the hugs and kisses that they'll allow you to, because I know sometimes that's not available. Or show them affection in a different way. And also, remember, we are a community. And you're
Yeah.
not alone, and we all are here to support each other. And thank you, Kylan, for holding this space. Thank you for always, having those hard conversations and those not so hard conversations and making us laugh and making us cry. And, to me, it's been very helpful. That's why I've been here for the past 3 months. And I plan to keep on going with you as long as you'll allow me to.
Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that, and it's a lot, you guys. We're here for each other. So, all right, same time tomorrow, you guys. About 10 a.m. Or noon Eastern time is when we go live. So, thank you all, and have a wonderful day.